I want to talk about Jake Tapper rolling Comer this weekend.
Additional pages of classified documents were found at President Biden's residence in that Wilmington suburb in a room adjacent to the garage. What's your reaction to this latest development?
Well, my concern is that the special counsel was called for, but yet hours after that, we still had the president's personal attorneys who have no security clearance still rummaging around the president's residence looking for things. I mean, that would essentially be a crime scene, so to speak, after the appointment of a special counsel.
Trump's got his people apparently searching multiple properties of his. His people, not even his damn lawyers. We don't even know who's doing it. And apparently, they found a couple pages. You don't seem concerned about that. Go figure.
And hopefully we'll be getting some answers very soon.
So you just this morning, you have a new letter to the White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, demanding more information about these classified documents. What more do you want to know?
We want to know the visitor logs to the residence. We want to know who had access to the Biden Center for Diplomacy, because this is the same type of investigation that the Democrats were so outraged and launched and demanded happen to President Trump. What we see with President Biden is there are multiple locations. We would never have known about the possession of the classified documents were it not for investigative reporting by CBS.
Oh, you mean reporting from the mainstream liberal media? I thought they were shills for Joe Biden. Interesting. Because this is a CBS report that came out. Aren't you one of the ones that are always talking about how CBS is a shill of the Democratic Party? Funny that.
That somehow got a leak to determine that this had happened prior to the election. So the administration hasn't been transparent about what's going on with President Biden's possession of classified documents. And we just want equal treatment here with respect to how both former President Trump and current President Biden are being treated.
Former President Trump is under an investigation for his own classified documents. There are about 20 in the case of Biden. For Trump, there are more than 300 classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. A big difference here, just on the facts. Trump did not fully comply with the subpoena. His lawyers falsely told investigators that they turned everything in. Take a listen to what you told CNN about this situation last November.
I don't know much about that. That's not something that we've requested information just to see what was going on, because I don't know what documents were at Mar-a-Lago. So, that's something we're just waiting to see what comes out on that.
But is it fair to say that investigation won't be a priority?
That will not be a priority.
This asshole readily admits they don't care what Trump has. This is about politics.
What do you say to viewers who don't understand why President Biden's documents seem like a big priority for you, but President Trump, who took hundreds more documents, did not comply with the subpoena, did not reach out to the National Archives or the Justice Department to say, hey, we found these documents? It's not a priority. Do you only care about classified documents being mishandled when Democrats do the mishandling?
Absolutely not. Look, we still don't know what type of documents President Trump had. That's one of the questions we've asked National Archives. Just because Joe Biden's lawyers said they turned over 5 documents doesn't mean they just turned over 5 documents. They could have turned over 500 documents. I'm sorry, but I don't have a lot of confidence in President Biden's personal lawyers.
See, the difference is Trump's lawyers actually lied to a federal judge. So, I don't know how many lawyers you do trust, but should you be trusting Trump's? How many have been disbarred? It's hard to count.
At the end of the day, the National Archives implied to us at former Chairman Maloney's request and told us that the National Archives was working with the Trump administration during the transition. That's the last communication we had with whether or not the archives had worked with Trump on removal of all the documents from the White House. So we don't know exactly what Trump has versus what Biden has. At the end of the day, my biggest concern isn't the classified documents, to be honest with you. My concern is how there's such a discrepancy in how former President Trump was treated by raiding Mar-a-Lago, by getting the security cameras, by taking pictures of documents on the floor, by going through Melania's closet, versus Joe Biden. They're like, okay, your personal lawyers who don't have security clearance, they can go through, they can just keep looking and determine whatever's there. That's not equal treatment, and we're very concerned. And there's a lack of trust here at the Department of Justice by House Republicans. That's the outrage.
He readily admits he doesn't care what Trump has. It's not about that. This is about protecting Trump and hurting the Bidens. We get it. We all get it.
So I get that, but there's a big difference in how President Biden and his team reacted and how President Trump and his team reacted. The FBI searched Mar-a-Lago because Trump, for more than a year, refused to turn over documents to the National Archives and the Justice Department, which was trying to get them back into secure hands. Trump and his lawyers lied about it. Trump lied about not having classified documents, did not keep them in a secure location, did not comply with a subpoena, but said he had. And that search warrant, which Trump forced out into the open through his legal machinations, that cited laws that Trump might have violated, including the Espionage Act.
It's my understanding that President Trump did let the National Archives go through on numerous occasions, Mar-a-Lago, looking at the documents. What my understanding is, and again, we don't know because we haven't been briefed, was that President Trump was arguing with National Archives over what is classified and what is not. As we've heard the president say before, the president has the authority to declassify documents. Now, the question is whether or not the president actually declassified the documents. The vice president does not have the authority to declassify.
Actually, the vice president does have.
There's a big difference.
The vice president does. I'm not saying the vice president does have that authority.
We disagree that the vice president does.
No one really cares what you agree with or don't. The Constitution says the vice president does have the ability to declassify. I know this guy's never read the Constitution. He's a Republican. Why would he? They don't actually believe in the Constitution. Much like the Bible. They claim they believe in it, but they've never read it. They're not going to. I'm not even sure many of them can read.
But just to put first of all, you're asking for the visitors logs at President Biden's Greenville, outside Wilmington, Delaware home. Are you also asking for the visitor logs at Mar-a-Lago? Because the issue of whether or not sources and methods are compromised, whether or not any of these documents got into the wrong hands, whether or not Biden or Trump allowed documents to be kept in a haphazard way, that exists, period. And I'm wondering why the request for visitor logs in Greenville, but not in Mar-a-Lago?
Well, we're doing the Biden family influence peddling investigation.
This investigation's about politics. The facts don't matter. The crimes don't matter. They're not interested in that. They want to hurt Democrats. That's all this is.
The Biden Center was funded primarily through anonymous donations from China.
Was it the Biden Center or University of Pennsylvania?
Transactions.
I know the University of Pennsylvania had...
It was the University of Pennsylvania that funneled it through the Biden Center. And then you have the
Biden Center says they didn't get any money from Chinese anonymous donations. I mean, I get that schools get money from Chinese donations, but there is
a pattern here. Well, what the American people are going to see from our investigation is a pattern of anonymous donations going to Hunter's business deals, to the Biden Center, to the artwork that Hunter sold at that art gallery in New York. There's a pattern here of anonymous sources of money flowing into the Biden's pockets and Biden interest, and it's very concerning.
The $2 billion that Jared Kushner got while he was in the Middle East just represents a greater double standard. They always talk about the deep state, and Jared cashed in. They can't point to a single crime that Hunter committed.
This is a national security risk. That's my biggest concern, and that's why we're pressing forward with this investigation.
So I guess the average American who doesn't really care whether the person you're investigating has a D or an R next to their name might listen to this interview and think, I don't have any problem with anything he's investigating when it comes to Biden, but how come he's not investigating all the same stuff when it comes to Trump? I mean, there are questions about influence peddling when it comes to the Trump family. There's questions about visitor logs when it comes to Mar-a-Lago. I mean, if you are going to be doing the Oversight and Accountability Committee, which you've renamed for the American people, not just for Republicans, it would seem to me that all of it should be investigated.
This is all political theater. And now we have a special counsel appointed by Trump. So what's their issue? I'll tell you what their issue is. Their boy's going down, and they know it. But damn, what a gift this was to Fox News. Enjoy it, boys. It's going to be the last one you're going to get for a while. I'm Zechariah, Lone Star Liberal.